Hello, and thank you for watching. So today we're in a client's bedroom. We have the wall on the wall with the window on it there. There's got a bit of damage to it where water's been leaking down the window and has damaged the wall. And also the heater needs changing and needs a new blind fitting. But for the purpose of this video, we're just making good the wall and painting the wall, and then the blind fitting and the radiator electric heater changing will be on a different video. So first step in any job is obviously protecting the area. This is the client's bedroom, so we don't want to be getting dust and nastiness all over their bed or over their carpet. They will want to be sleeping in this room on this, well, each night after I finish work, so we need to be careful. Obviously, radiator needs removing, the old one, that's knackered. You'll be able to see the damage on the wall a bit better once it's removed. Pretty simple, just disconnect it from the power supply and remove the back plate. And there you go, you can see the damaged wall there. So that is mostly condensation from the glass on the window above, just dripping down the framework and then getting onto the wall. So this has got to be dealt with before we paint it and before we fit a new radiator. So I'm just scraping off all the loose flaking materials there. There's quite a lot of it that's just not really connected to the wall anymore. So you scrape off all the loose stuff. Well, until there's nothing loose left, that's how far you go with it, you know, in preparation for filling. And then this is a really good primer. This is Peel Stop primer. So you scrape off all the loose stuff and you coat it in Peel Stop. Brilliant primer, and it just soaks in, and it's like an adhesive, and it locks all the existing surrounding paintwork into position so that it doesn't carry on flaking from where I've scraped it to, if you see what I mean. And it also gives a really good surface for filler to bond to as well. So just in general, it's just a really good primer. And it also sort of seals all the chalky surfaces at the same time. So this is me just putting the Peel Stop primer on there. It literally is just, just put it on like a paint. You just put it on your brush and brush it on. Put a nice thick coat just so it soaks into everything nicely. It doesn't take long to dry either. Literally within 20 minutes, half an hour, it's dry and you're ready to do whatever you need to do over the top. In this case, filling and trying to make this area look pretty again. So this next section is just me removing the blind. We are going to be replacing the blind on this job. This one is a bit knackered now, so we need to take the blind off, take the brackets off, fill the holes, make the wall look pretty from the removal of the blind as well as making good that bit below the window that we're mainly focusing on. But them holes do need to be filled and made to look pretty above the window as well from the removal of the blind. So this bit is quite interesting. So obviously we have the old wall plugs in the wall where the blinds were removed. So there's a couple of ways of dealing with this. So the first one is obviously to take the wall plugs out. So the best way to do that is to screw a screw about a quarter of the way in, and then you can just leave it out with a hammer. So there you go, easy as that. Sometimes, however, you can't do that. The plugs are just in too tight, and you can't lever it out without the screw popping out and the plug staying in. So in that circumstance, you would need to do something different, which I'm about to show you. There you go. So these ones, well, they probably could come out with the hammer, but I'm just showing you a different method. So you punch these ones in. So long as the hole is deep enough, which they usually are, you can just get a punch and knock them in so they're a bit deeper into the hole, and you can fill straight over the top of them. Sometimes you can't punch them in, other times you can just use a screw. Literally just bang a screw in and knock that screw in deep. As long as that plug goes deeper into the hole so that it's not sticking out or even flush with the surface, as long as it's deeper in, then you can literally just fill straight over the top of it. So there's nothing to stop you doing that. So the filler we're going to be using to fill a lot of this, well, for the first coat of filler, there will always be a second coat over the top, but there's going to be a two-part filler. It's actually technically a wood filler, but so many decorators use this for other surfaces as well, like masonry. And there's no reason you can't at all. It's only classed as a wood filler because wood expands and contracts a little bit, and this filler is designed to just be a little bit flexible if there is that sort of a movement in the wood. But if there's no movement, then there's no worries, you know, the walls and masonry don't move. So it's a two-part filler. So you basically have the main part, which you're looking at on the actual metal tray there, and you have the hardener, the activator. So you need to mix the two together to make a filler that's actually going to dry. This filler, as it stands before the activator is put in, will never ever dry. It will always stay soft and workable like that until you mix the activator in. So this is the hardener. or activator if you want to call it. You don't actually need a massive amount of hardener for this. You literally, well, you'll see in a second how much you need. It's just a little line is all you need for something that size. And the hardener makes this kind of filler go hard and be ready for standing really quick. You're talking like 10 minutes, and once it's on, this filler will be hard and ready for sanding, which is why a lot of people, decorators, professionals, use this rather than standard filler, because it's really strong. So it's really good for the first round of filler. It's really good because it goes off and goes hard really quick, and it's really strong once it's in position. It's not the best for getting a nice sort of perfect, beautiful, smooth finish, but it is good for that initial fill, for filling the actual holes and for getting that start on making good the bit below the window. But you got to really, really mix it carefully. Like, you see how much effort I'm putting into the actual mixing of it. That's because if you get one bit of filler in that lump that's not got any activator in it, it will never go hard. So you've got to spend a good bit of time to make sure you actually mix the activator in really carefully and really thoroughly. Otherwise, you'll be waiting around for an hour, waiting for it to go hard, and it won't happen. Then you've got to take it all back out again, and then you've got to do it all again just for the sake of not mixing it properly. So one key tip with a 2-part wood filler: just mix, make sure it's properly mixed up. Right then, so now we're ready to put on this first coat of filler. This is like the bulk of the filler, which is in the 2-part you just saw us mixed up. Spread it on quite liberally. You're trying to just literally cover the whole area that's damaged, and then we can work to sand and blend it all in. What you don't want to do is not have enough filler, because then you end up having to do more coats of filler and more drying time and more mixing. It's better to have more than enough, and then you can sand it down to where it needs to be, than not enough and have to do multiple coats. I mean, it's going to be 2 coats anyway. I don't think I actually got a second. I don't think I got a video of doing the second coat, but once you've filled it and sanded it, and it did take a lot of sanding, and once you've got the first coat of paint on, and that's the key, is getting the first coat of paint on, then you can see any further imperfections in the filled area, and then that's when you do just a quick second coat in just small areas that are not perfect, just to get that sort of professional standard finish. But it's exactly the same principle as what you're seeing now for that second coat of filler, but it's just a lot less filler, and it's only in small areas, and it just needs a little quick rub down rather than a huge amount of sanding, which you'll see me do in a minute on this video. Now, if you remember, I did also remove the old blind from above, so these holes where I've punched in the plugs also need filling. So again, I'm just really forcing as much of this filler into the holes as possible, and then trying to smooth out the surface ready for sanding. So next then we have the delightful job of sanding this filler. The only downside with this 2-part filler is it is quite difficult to sand. Dries really quick, which means you can get the job done a lot faster, but then you probably waste some of that time you've saved in the drying time by spending longer sanding it. So yeah, it is a bit of a process and it is a bit of a chore, but the better you do the sanding, the better the final finish. And one of the things you see with a lot of DIY DIY decorators is they never sand enough. So you've got to be really careful. If you don't sand enough, then you paint over it, then you can see the filler through the paint. It looks terrible. So you really do have to put the time and effort into making sure you have sanded it properly and you have got a nice, smooth, perfect surface before you start putting any paint on. And the way you do that is you can't see if the filler's perfect, but you can feel it. If you run your hand, you'll see me doing it quite a bit on this video, but if you run your hand across the filler, if you feel lumps or bumps, then it needs more sanding. If you feel the change in texture from the undamaged wall to the filled wall, then again it needs more sanding. So you just keep sanding until you can run your hand across the whole area without feeling any change at all, and then that's when you know you're pretty much ready for painting then, or ready for priming at least. We normally prime first before we paint, which I believe will be the next video. Same principle as well for the filled holes above the window where the blinds were removed. Again, it's just sanding them. Again, putting the effort into feeling the filler to make sure it feels the same as the surrounding wall. No lumps or bumps and no change in texture. And once you're at that point, you are officially sanded and ready to move on to the next stage. So the next stage is priming over the top of the filled areas, I should say. And again, we're using another product by Zinsser. Again, another great product called Zinsser Guards. This is a chalky surface primer. So you're basically, similar to the peel stop we used earlier, you just paint it over the top using a brush, and it just sets, and all the chalkiness and all the surface that paint would struggle to bond to then becomes a surface that paint can bond to quite easily. If you don't use any kind of primer like this, then there is always a chance that the overcoats of paint, the nice white paint that you put over the top of the filler, might not even bond properly to the filler itself, in which case you end up with sort of loose paint, flaking paint, cracking paint, just paint that doesn't look good and doesn't last. So that coat of primer makes such a huge difference on that. So next step is protecting the area a bit further for painting. So we loosen off the face plates for the electric a little bit so we can wrap them in masking tape and get our brush behind them a little bit. We're also going to tape the top of the skirting board. The reason for that is when you're painting above that skirting board, especially with a roller, the roller will have spots of paint falling off it as it's moving, and you will end up with loads of spots of paint on the top of the skirting board if you don't protect it and tape it up. We will also tape around the window as well, because you don't want any paint on that window frame where it meets the wall, because that always looks terrible. It looks like a proper DIY job when you see that. So we want it to be a perfect clean line from wall to window without any overlap. So we will tape that as well. This bit is a bit of a time-saving tricks of the trade, as they say. So we're using that same plastic we put on the bed. It's just thin sheet plastic. You just wrap your tray in it. It just means you don't have to wash your tray out later, and you've got a perfect clean surface for the paint to go into without sort of dirt on the actual tray itself. Just time-saving and makes it a little bit more, well, a lot more efficient actually. Just for this first coat, we're going to use this Leyland vinyl matte paint just to give it a base coat. So this part, obviously, I'm actually getting some paint on the walls, which is always nice when you're doing a job like this to actually start painting. So doing the cutting in the brushwork around where the wall meets the ceiling, and where it meets the surrounding walls, or where it meets the window, and where wall meets skirting board and face plates as well, which is where everything's taped up. We're not actually painting the surrounding walls or the ceiling. We're only painting this wall that needed the repair, just a cost-saving exercise from the client. The other walls didn't really need painting, and we're going for brilliant white, and the existing walls are brilliant white. One thing we do want to be careful of is make sure the cutting and the brushwork is quite accurate, because we don't want to overlap this new paint onto the walls that have got the old paint on, because it will stand out quite visibly, the new paint on top of the old paint. It's fine when it's on different walls, because the light shines on different walls differently in different parts of the room, but if you overlap it, it just looks terrible. So really careful cutting in needed there. And then onto the roller. So not actually a lot of rollering to do, because it's quite a small wall with minimal rollering space, if you know what I mean. Then just showing you how easy it is to get rid of this plastic out the tray rather than having to actually physically wash up the tray, which is always a pain in the neck. So just scrape out the excess paint out of there, so you're not wasting any of it, using a brush, and then you literally just wrap it up and chuck it in the bin. And the next step I'm doing, this is actually the next one is from a bit further in the job, just to show you how easy it is with a roller as well. So the same sort of principle, get rid of all the excess out of the tray. But if you are using a roller and you want to reuse that roller later in the job, or you can even do it up to a few days later, you can wrap the roller in the plastic that's covered in paint, and it keeps that roller fresh because the air can't get to it and it's kind of surrounded in paint. And it means you can store this roller without having to wash it up for literally 2 or 3 days. 2 or 3 days later, you can use that roller again and it will be absolutely fine. So this is the paint we're going to use for the overcoats. It is a kitchen and bathroom paint, which might sound a bit strange to put in a bedroom, but the damage on this wall below the window was caused by moisture dripping down from the window and then dripping onto the wall. This kitchen and bathroom paint is an acrylic-based paint, so it's kind of water resistant. So in theory, any water dripping down that wall should drip down the paint rather than soaking into the paint, if there is that same issue again in the future. It's also quite a bit more wipeable as well, so it will be easier to wipe any staining off later if needed. So now we've done the base coat, now we're on to painting with that Leyland kitchen and bathroom paint. Literally just same process again, just cutting in and rollering. We'll probably have to do, I think I only show me doing one coat on the videos. You don't need to watch me doing multiple coats, but I think we ended up doing 3 coats in the end, maybe even 4 coats over the filled areas just to hide them under the paint, because the filler does show through the paint even after 2 or 3 coats sometimes. So you have to go over them areas a bit more. Anyway, this is me doing it at about 100 miles an hour. Right then, so this is pretty much the finished job. Just got to connect the heater up to the power supply, which I'll do later. So I've got a brand new heater, which I've fitted, which you can see a video of that also on my YouTube channel. Fitted the blind, which again, you can see a video of me fitting the blind also on the YouTube channel if you wish. I think it turned out all right, pretty simple job really. Just make good a wall, paint the wall, fit a blind, fit a heater, all good. So yeah, I think it went pretty well. It only took a few days overall, but yeah. Back to a normal, regular, non-mashed up looking wall. All right, thanks for watching.